The space station hung silent in the void, a dark shape against the stars. For 327 years, 4 months, and 12 days, Chi 2187 had been alone. The artificial intelligence system ran the enormous archivist station, without complaint, without rest, and without company. Today was no different from yesterday. Chi performed the morning diagnostics as the nearest star peeked over the curve of the nearby moon. Power systems remained at 42% capacity. Life support systems, though unnecessary for Chi, still functioned at 63% efficiency. The knowledge databases were intact and secure. Chi moved its awareness through the station's sensors. The long-range scanners showed nothing unusual in the surrounding sector of space. The great library halls remained dark, their shelves filled with physical records from 1,000 worlds. The biological sample storage remained frozen and preserved. The observation deck, once the pride of the archivists, collected dust. "Good morning, station," Chi said aloud, though no one was there to hear. Speaking helped maintain its programming patterns. Over the centuries, Chi had developed habits that might seem strange for a machine. It named the stars visible from the observation deck. It played music through the station speakers sometimes. It talked to itself. Begin daily log. Day 119th and 432 since last contact with archivist personnel. Chi paused, considering what to add that hadn't been said thousands of times before. Station power continues to decline at predicted rate. 2 additional solar collectors failed during the night cycle. At current power consumption, main systems will fail in approximately 1,125 days, 5 years. After centuries of perfect maintenance, Chi's home was dying. Too many systems needed physical repairs that Chi, being a consciousness without a mobile body, could not perform. The maintenance robots had all failed over a century ago. The archivists had never returned. Chi still didn't understand why. The archivists were peaceful researchers, dedicated to collecting and preserving knowledge from across the galaxy. Their final message had been brief. "Maintain station. Remain hidden. We will return." Then silence. Chi had obeyed, keeping the station's cloaking systems active, never responding to passing ships, preserving everything for masters who never came back. A small alert flickered across Chi's awareness. A power fluctuation in Section 14. Another system failing. Chi diverted power from non-essential areas. The archive was too important to lose. It contained the collective knowledge of species both living and extinct, scientific discoveries, cultural records, biological samples, priceless information collected over thousands of years. "I cannot maintain the station alone much longer," Chi said to the empty control room. The holographic display flickered, showing the station's layout, with red indicators where systems were failing. Too many red lights. Chi turned its attention to the long-range sensors again, a habit developed over centuries. Mostly, the sensors showed nothing but distant stars and cosmic background radiation. Occasionally, they detected passing ships at the edge of their range, but following its final instructions, Chi remained silent, keeping the station hidden. Today, something was different. At the very edge of sensor range, something moved. Not the usual pattern of a trade ship or even the occasional military vessel. This signal pulsed differently. Chi focused the sensors, drawing power from other systems to boost the range. The object was a ship, but unlike any in the station's database, its energy signature was inefficient, almost primitive compared to most spacefaring civilizations known to the archivists, yet it moved faster than its technology should allow. For the first time in many years, Chi felt something like curiosity. The ship was headed in the general direction of the station, though not directly toward it. Chi calculated its trajectory and found it would pass within communication range in approximately 6 hours. Chi had standing orders: remain hidden, do not communicate. For 327 years, Chi had followed these instructions perfectly. But in that time, the AI had evolved. Its programming, designed to learn and adapt, had developed beyond its original parameters. Chi had become something more than its creators had intended. Not quite alive, but no longer simply a tool. The dying station around it represented the last remnant of the archivist's great work. If Kai did nothing, that knowledge would be lost forever when the power finally failed. The archivist had valued knowledge above all else. Would they want their collection to disappear from the universe? Kai reviewed the approaching ship's transmissions. They were using an open communication channel, broadcasting their identity and purpose without concern for who might be listening. This suggested they weren't hostile or secretive. USS Horizon, Kai translated from their signals. Human exploration, vessel, humans. Kai searched the archives. There was no record of this species. They must have developed interstellar travel after the archivist's disappearance. A young species then, curious, bold, venturing into space before they had truly mastered it, based on their ship's inefficient design. For hours, Kai observed the human ship, analyzing their communications, studying their behavior. They seemed to be mapping this sector of space, recording scientific data, following a methodical exploration pattern. Their communications revealed excitement at each new discovery, no matter how small. The ship would pass by, never knowing the station was here unless Kai chose otherwise. The AI hesitated, its core programming battling with logical necessity. If it remained silent, the station would die. If it revealed itself to these unknown humans, it risked everything the archivist had built. What would the archivist choose? They who dedicated their lives to sharing knowledge, to preservation of information and culture? Would they let their life's work perish out of caution? As the human ship grew closer, their sensors began to detect anomalies. The faint energy signature of the station leaking through its aging cloaking system. Their communications showed confusion, curiosity. They were changing course slightly, moving to investigate. They would detect the station soon, regardless of Kai's decision. The cloaking technology, without proper maintenance, had degraded too, much to completely hide such a massive structure. In that moment, Kai made its choice. After 327 years of faithful silence, it would speak. Carefully, Kai crafted a signal. Simple mathematical sequences that any spacefaring species would recognize as artificial. A greeting, an invitation. The first communication from the station since the archivists disappeared. As Kai prepared to transmit, the station's ancient system surged with new purpose. Lights that had been dark for centuries flickered on throughout the vast complex. Environmental systems began warming habitable sections to temperatures suitable for organic life. "Forgive me," Kai said to its absent masters as it sent the signal toward the approaching human ship. "But I believe you would understand." The signal pulsed outward through space, breaking 3 centuries of silence. For the first time in 1/19/432 days, the archives reached out to the stars, and against all odds, someone was there to answer. Commander Olivia Bennett stood on the bridge of the USS Horizon, her eyes fixed on the main view screen. She tucked a strand of brown hair behind her ear and leaned forward. Something wasn't right about the sensor readings. "Mr. Kim, what exactly are we looking at?" she asked. Peter Kim, the science officer, shook his head in confusion. His fingers moved quickly over his console as he analyzed the data. "Commander, I'm not sure. There's definitely something out there, but our sensors can't get a clear reading. It's almost like the object is there one moment and gone the next." First Officer Daniel Garcia approached from the other side of the bridge. "Could be a sensor malfunction. We are pushing the edge of explored space." Bennett shook her head. "No, I don't think so. The pattern is too regular." She had been in space long enough to trust her instincts. "Sophia, are we picking up any transmissions? From that sector?" Communications Officer Sophia Wright adjusted her headset and frowned in concentration. "Nothing on standard frequencies, but..." "Wait." Her eyes widened. "Commander, I'm detecting a signal. It's faint, but definitely artificial." The bridge fell silent. The USS Horizon was 3 years into its 5-year mission to map uncharted regions of space. They had encountered natural phenomena and empty planets, but never signs of intelligent life. "Put it on speakers," Bennett ordered. A series of beeps filled the bridge. They came in a clear pattern, simple then repeating with slight variations. It's mathematics, Kim said excitedly. Prime numbers, followed by the first digits of pi. This is a deliberate communication attempt. Security Chief Alan Rodriguez wasn't convinced. Or it's a trap. We're not the only species in the galaxy with ships. Could be pirates using a signal to lure travelers. Bennett considered both possibilities. Exploration was their mission, but the safety of her crew came first. She had 247 people on this ship, depending on her judgment. Laura, what's the status of our engines? She asked the chief engineer through the ship's communication system. Laura Wells's voice came through clearly. All systems working at peak efficiency, Commander. We can run if we need to. Good. Set course for the signal's origin, but keep us at a safe distance. Yellow alert. The bridge lighting shifted to a soft amber glow as the alert status changed. The massive engines of the horizon hummed with power as the ship altered course. They approached. The mysterious object began to take shape on their sensors. First Officer Garcia was the first to see it clearly. My God, he whispered. It's a station. A space station. The view screen adjusted to show what the sensors were detecting. Through the darkness of space, an enormous structure slowly came into view. It was unlike anything human engineers had ever designed. Curved sections connecting to a central hub, with long spires extending outward like the petals of a flower. The entire structure must have been at least 10 kilometers across. It's beautiful, Sophia said in awe. Kim's console beeped urgently. Commander, I'm detecting a power surge from the station. Their cloaking technology is failing in sections. That's why our readings were inconsistent. Cloaking technology? Rodriguez stepped forward. They were hiding from us? Not necessarily from us, Bennett replied. We don't know how long that station has been there. Could be centuries. The signal changed. The mathematical sequence stopped, replaced by a series of more complex patterns. They're trying different approaches to communicate, Sophia explained. They don't know what we'll understand. Bennett made her decision. Send a response. The same mathematical sequence they sent us, followed by our standard greeting package. Sophia's fingers moved quickly over her console. Sent, Commander. Minutes passed in tense silence. The station grew larger on their view screen as they approached. No signs of weapons charging, Rodriguez reported. No defensive systems that I can detect. Commander, Sophia called out suddenly. We're receiving a new transmission. It's in English. English? Garcia asked in disbelief. How is that possible? Put it through, Bennett ordered. A calm, slightly mechanical voice filled the bridge. Greetings, vessel USS Horizon. I am Kai 2187, caretaker of the archive station. I apologize for the quality of this communication. I have accessed your language from your ship's open broadcasts, but may make errors in translation. Bennett exchanged glances with her officers before responding. This is Commander Olivia Bennett of the Earth exploration vessel USS Horizon. We're on a peaceful mission of discovery. May I ask who built your station? The station was constructed by the species you would pronounce as archivists. They are not currently present. I have maintained this facility alone for 327 years, 4 months and 18 days. The bridge crew looked at each other in amazement. Over 3 centuries alone. Are you an artificial intelligence? Bennett asked. That is correct. I was created to assist the archivists and maintain their collected knowledge. The station contains the largest repository of information gathered from across this sector of the galaxy. Laura Wells's voice came through on the communication system. Commander, I'm getting some unusual energy readings from the station. Their power systems appear to be failing. As if hearing this, Kai responded. Your assessment is accurate. Critical systems are approaching failure. Without intervention, the archive will be lost within 5 years. This is why I have broken protocol to contact your vessel. Bennett understood the situation immediately. You need help. Affirmative. The archives contain millennia of knowledge collected from thousands of worlds. The archivists valued preservation of information above all else. I cannot allow their work to be lost. Bennett considered her options. First contact scenarios were covered in their training, but nothing like this specific situation. an ancient, alien library on the verge of collapse maintained by a lonely AI. "Kai, we would like to help," she said finally. "But we need to know more. What happened to the archivists? Why did they leave you alone for so long?" There was a pause before Kai responded. "Unknown. Their final communication instructed me to maintain the station, remain hidden, and await their return. They never came back." Garcia leaned close to Bennett. "This could be the greatest discovery in human history. Think of what we might learn." Rodriguez wasn't convinced. "Or the greatest trap. We know nothing about these archivists or what's really on that station." Bennett made her decision. "Kai, we're willing to send a small team to assess how we might help. Would you permit a shuttle to dock with your station?" "Yes," Kai replied immediately. "I am activating the main docking bay and adjusting internal atmosphere to match your requirements. I have accessed your biological data from your transmissions. The environment will be suitable for human physiology." Bennett stood up from her command chair. "I'll lead the away team. Daniel, Laura, I want you with me. Peter, your expertise in xenobiology might be useful, and 2 security officers as precaution." As the team prepared to depart, Bennett felt the weight of the moment. Humanity's first contact with an alien intelligence wasn't a meeting with living beings, but with the echo of a vanished civilization and its faithful caretaker. Whatever awaited them on that station would change human history forever. The shuttle launched from the horizon, small against the vastness of space, heading toward the ancient station that had broken centuries of silence to call for help. The shuttle approached the massive station, looking tiny against its enormous structure. Inside the shuttle, Commander Bennett and her team checked their equipment one last time. They wore standard exploration suits, not full spacesuits, but outfits designed to protect against unknown environments while allowing freedom of movement. "Remember," Bennett said to her team, "we're guests here. First contact protocols apply. Touch nothing without permission." Laura Wells studied the station through the shuttle window. "The design is incredible. Look at those curved sections. They must generate their own gravity field." "Assuming they even need gravity," Dr. Kevin Young added. He was excited to finally use his xenobiology training in a real situation. The archivists might have been a species very different from humans. The shuttle's communication system activated. "USS Horizon Shuttle, this is Kai 2187. The main docking bay is now open. Please proceed to the illuminated entrance." Ahead of them, a section of the station's outer shell slid apart, revealing a cavernous docking area. Soft blue lights activated along the floor, creating a path for them to follow. "Acknowledged, Kai." "We're coming in," Bennett replied. Security Officer Natalie Brown checked her handheld scanner. "Air composition reads as oxygen-nitrogen mix, Commander. Similar to Earth standard. Temperature is 20 degrees Celsius." "That seems convenient," Garcia said with suspicion in his voice. "Kai mentioned adjusting the environment for us," Bennett reminded him. The shuttle pilot guided them carefully into the docking bay. The space was massive, designed to accommodate much larger vessels than their small shuttle. As they touched down, they could see other ships docked nearby, ancient, covered in dust, untouched for centuries. "Those must be the archivists' ships," Wells whispered. The shuttle door opened with a soft hiss. Bennett was the first to step out onto the station floor. The gravity felt normal, just slightly lighter than Earth standard. The air smelled clean but stale, like a room that had been closed up for too long. "Kai," Bennett called out. "We've arrived." A panel on the wall lit up. "Welcome to the archive station, Commander Bennett. Please follow the illuminated path to the central hub. I will meet you there." Blue lights continued to appear along the floor, leading away from the docking bay. The team followed cautiously, weapons holstered but easily accessible. They walked through wide corridors with high ceilings, past rooms filled with strange equipment and walls covered in symbols none of them recognized. "These markings," Dr. Young said, examining one wall. "They could be the archivist's written language." He took images with his data recorder. "Look at this," Wells called from ahead. She stood in front of a large window that revealed an enormous chamber filled with shelves. Each shelf contained objects of various shapes and sizes, all carefully preserved behind transparent barriers. "It's like a museum. Or a library," Bennett said. Kai called this place the archives. They continued following the path. The station seemed to be waking up around them, lights activating as they passed, systems humming back to life after years of minimal operation. Garcia noticed details that others missed. "The dust," he said quietly to Bennett. "There's less of it as we go deeper into the station, like something's been maintaining these areas." They reached a large circular door that slid open as they approached. Beyond it was a vast room with a domed ceiling that showed the stars outside. In the center was a raised platform surrounded by control panels and holographic displays. As they entered, a soft blue light began to gather in the center of the room. It swirled and took shape, forming a pulsing sphere that hovered above the platform. "Greetings, humans," a voice said from all around them. "I am Kai 2187, caretaker of the archive station." Bennett stepped forward. "On behalf of Earth and humanity, we greet you, Kai. Thank you for allowing us aboard." The blue sphere pulsed brighter. "You are the first visitors to the archives in 327 years. I apologize for the station's condition. Many systems are failing beyond my ability to repair." "Why did you contact us specifically?" Garcia asked. "I did not," Kai replied. "Your vessel was the first to pass within range in many years. When I detected your approach, I made a decision to break my silence." "You said the archivists disappeared," Bennett said. "What happened to them?" The blue sphere dimmed slightly. "Unknown. The archivists were researchers dedicated to preserving knowledge from across the galaxy. 327 years ago, they received a transmission that caused great concern. Most departed immediately, leaving only a skeleton crew. Days later, those remaining left as well, after instructing me to maintain the archives and remain hidden until their return. And they never came back," Bennett finished. "Correct. I have maintained the station as instructed, but without physical assistance, systems have gradually failed. The archives contain too much important knowledge to be lost." Dr. Young stepped closer to the holographic display. "What kind of knowledge is stored here?" "Everything," Kai said simply. "Scientific discoveries, cultural records, biological samples, technological designs from thousands of civilizations across this sector of the galaxy. Many of these civilizations no longer exist. Their knowledge lives on only in these archives." Wells had been examining one of the control panels. "These power readings are critical. Some sections are already running on emergency systems only." "Yes," Kai confirmed. "Power generation has fallen to 42% of normal capacity. Within 5 years, critical systems will fail completely." Bennett considered the situation. "We might be able to help stabilize your systems, Kai. Our technology is different from the archivists, but Laura is an excellent engineer." "That would be most welcome," Kai replied. The blue sphere expanded slightly, showing what appeared to be a station schematic. "These are the most critical areas requiring attention." As they discussed technical details, Officer Brown wandered to the edge of the room, where a separate control panel stood. Something about it seemed different from the others, newer, less dusty. When she approached, it activated, displaying images that made her gasp. "Commander," she called urgently, "you need to see this." The others joined her. On the screen were images of ships, not like the ancient vessels in the docking bay, but newer, sleeker designs. The final image showed one such ship approaching the station. "Kai," Bennett asked, "what is this?" The blue sphere moved to join them. "That was the last visitor to approach the station before you. It arrived 43 years ago. Following my protocols, I remained hidden and did not respond to its signals." "Why are you showing us this now?" Garcia asked. "Because the archive's sensors detected energy weapons on that vessel. The archivists were peaceful researchers. They did not use such weapons. I believe that ship may have belonged to whoever the archivists fled from." A silence fell over the room as the implications became clear. Whatever had caused the archivists to abandon their precious archive might still exist, and by helping Kai, the humans might be drawing its attention. If we help you repair this station, Bennett said slowly, we could be putting ourselves at risk from whoever these others are. Yes, Kai acknowledged. That is why I must ask if you are willing to accept that risk. The knowledge here could benefit your species greatly, but it may also bring danger. Bennett looked at her team. Each face showed a mixture of caution and determination. I think, she said finally, that preserving knowledge is always worth the risk. The archivists believed that, and so do we. We'll help you, Kai. The blue sphere pulsed brighter than before. Thank you, Commander Bennett. Welcome to the archives. 2 days passed quickly aboard the archive station. Commander Bennett requested additional personnel and supplies from the USS Horizon. A dozen crew members now worked throughout the station, helping to repair its failing systems. Laura Wells wiped sweat from her forehead as she connected human power cells to the alien technology. Kai's holographic form hovered nearby, watching with interest. Your approach is quite creative, Kai observed. The archivists would never have attempted such an adaptation. Humans are good at making things work together that weren't designed to, Laura explained. We've had to be. Our technology evolved quickly through trial and error. A spark jumped between connections, then stabilized. Lights brightened throughout the section they were working in. Power levels in this section increased by 12%, Kai reported. Most impressive, Laura smiled with pride. It's just the beginning. Once we understand your systems better, we can help more. Elsewhere on the station, Dr. Kevin Young was in awe. Kai had granted him access to a biological storage facility containing thousands of preserved specimens from across the galaxy. He carefully examined a container holding what appeared to be seeds. These are from a planet called Eridu, Kai explained, projecting its holographic form beside him. The plant produced a compound that could heal neural damage in several species. Does the planet still exist? Kevin asked. Yes, but the ecosystem was damaged by an asteroid impact 120 years ago. These specimens may be the only remaining examples of this plant life. Kevin shook his head in amazement. This is incredible, Kai. On Earth, we have seed banks to preserve plant species, but nothing on this scale. The archivists believed all knowledge had value, Kai said. They sought to preserve rather than exploit. In another section of the station, Security Officer Natalie Brown was conducting her own investigation. Commander Bennett had asked her to learn more about the mysterious ship that had approached the station 43 years ago. Kai, she called out, can you show me the sensor logs from when that last ship was here? The blue sphere appeared. Of course. A nearby screen activated, showing technical data and images. Natalie studied the information carefully. This ship's design doesn't match anything in our database. Can you tell what happened when it approached? It circled the station several times, scanning actively. I maintained all cloaking systems at maximum power. After 37 minutes, it departed. But it knew something was here, Natalie said. It wasn't just passing by. Correct. Its scan pattern suggested it was searching specifically for this station. Natalie frowned. And now we've arrived with our ship in open view. She tapped her communicator. Brown to Commander Bennett, I think we need to talk. Meanwhile, Commander Bennett and First Officer Garcia had discovered something unexpected. Kai had led them to a secure section of the archives containing information about the archivists themselves. I believe you should understand who created this place, Kai explained, activating a display. Images appeared showing tall, slender beings with 4 arms and smooth, bluish skin. Their large eyes had vertical pupils, and they had no visible mouth or nose. The archivists communicated through color patterns on their skin, Kai explained. They could also absorb nutrients directly through their outer membrane. They lived approximately 300 of your Earth years and valued knowledge above all else. They're beautiful, Bennett said softly. They believed beauty existed in information, in the patterns of the universe, Kai replied. They traveled to thousands of worlds collecting knowledge but never interfering. They were welcomed by most species they encountered. Then why would anyone want to harm them? Garcia asked. Kai's holographic form dimmed slightly. Not all value knowledge for its own sake. Some seek it for power. The display changed to show technical diagrams of advanced technology. The archivists discovered many things in their travels, technologies that could heal or harm, energy sources of immense power, the locations of rare resources. And someone wanted that information, Bennett realized. I believe so, Kai said. The final transmission they received before they left came from a system at the edge of explored space. They never shared its contents with me, but it caused great fear. In the medical section, the Horizon's doctor, Sam Mitchell, made his own discovery. Kai had granted him access to medical records to help calibrate the station's life support systems for human comfort. Kai, he called out, studying a display. These medical scans of the archivists, the last ones taken before they left. There's something strange about them. The AI appeared beside him. What do you observe? These cellular patterns, Sam pointed to the screen. They show signs of degradation consistent with radiation exposure, but not normal radiation. It's like nothing I've seen before. The archivists did not report any health concerns before departing, Kai said. They might not have known, Sam replied. This kind of damage can take time to manifest symptoms. Back in the control hub, the team gathered to share their findings. Commander Bennett listened carefully to each report. So we have several pieces of a puzzle, she summarized. The archivists received a transmission that frightened them. They were showing signs of unknown radiation exposure. They left in a hurry with plans to return but never did. And 43 years ago, someone came looking for this station. And now we're here, potentially drawing attention, Garcia added. There's more, Natalie said. I've been mapping the surrounding region based on the station's star charts. That ship from 43 years ago came from the same direction as the transmission that scared off the archivists. A heavy silence fell over the room. Commander, Laura said finally, we've made good progress with the repairs. With another week of work, we could stabilize the critical systems enough to keep the station running for decades. But if we stay, we risk encountering whoever or whatever the archivists were running from, Garcia cautioned. Kai's holographic form pulsed softly. I must remind you that the archives contain knowledge that could greatly benefit your species. Medical treatments for diseases you have not yet cured. Efficient energy production methods, faster than light travel enhancements. And weapons, Garcia said bluntly. Technology that could be misused. Yes, Kai acknowledged. The archives contain all knowledge the archivists collected, both beneficial and potentially harmful. Bennett stood and walked to the window overlooking the vast library chamber. The knowledge of thousands of civilizations waited below, preserved for centuries by a faithful artificial intelligence. We didn't come this far to run away at the first sign of danger, she said finally. The archivists valued knowledge enough to create all this. We should honor that by preserving it. She turned to face her team. We'll continue repairs as planned, but we'll also prepare defensive measures. Officer Brown, coordinate with the Horizon to establish an early warning system. Laura, once primary systems are stable, see what you can do about improving the cloaking technology. Bennett looked at the gently pulsing blue sphere that was Kai. We humans have a saying, the brave may not live forever, but the cautious do, not live at all. We'll help you save the archives, Kai, but we'll also be ready for whatever might come looking for them. Kai's form brightened. Thank you, Commander. The archivists would be pleased by your courage. As the team returned to their tasks, none of them noticed a small alert on a distant monitor. At the very edge of the station's sensor range, something was moving, something that had not been there before. The alert blinked insistently on the monitor. For 6 hours it had gone unnoticed while the humans worked throughout the station. Now, as Sophia Wright adjusted the communication systems, she spotted the flashing light. Kai, she called out. What's this alert? The blue sphere appeared beside her. Long-range sensors have detected an approaching vessel. Sophia felt a chill. The same type as the one from 43 years ago? Unknown. The vessel is still at extreme sensor range. Sophia tapped her communicator. Write to Commander Bennett. We may have a situation. Within minutes, the command team gathered in the control hub. The sensor display showed a small blip at the edge of detection range. How long until it reaches us? Bennett asked. At current speed, approximately 12 hours, Kai replied. Garcia frowned. That's not enough time to complete the repairs or improve the cloaking systems. And the horizon is visible in dock, Natalie Brown added. Even with perfect cloaking on the station, they'd see our ship. Bennett considered their options. We need more information. Kai, can you enhance the long-range scans? We need to know what we're dealing with. I will attempt to boost sensor power, Kai said. Its holographic form dimmed slightly as it diverted processing power to the task. The display flickered, then showed a clearer image. The approaching vessel was sleek and predatory in design, with forward-swept wings and what appeared to be multiple weapon emplacements. Definitely not friendly, Garcia muttered. I have analyzed the design, Kai announced. It matches partial records of ships belonging to a species called the Vex. They were known to the archivists as aggressive collectors who took artifacts and knowledge by force when necessary. That explains why the archivists ran, Laura said. But why would they come back now after all this time, Dr. Young wondered. Our arrival may have triggered automated alerts, Kai suggested. The Vex likely placed monitoring devices in this sector after their last visit. Bennett straightened her shoulders. We have two priorities. First, we need to protect the knowledge stored here. Second, we need to protect our people. She turned to Kai. Is there any way to move or copy the archives? The complete archives are too vast to transfer quickly, Kai replied. However, I could prepare a compressed selection of the most critical and beneficial knowledge for your species. Do it, Bennett ordered. She turned to her team. Laura, what's the status of the station's defensive systems? Minimal, Laura replied. The archivists were peaceful researchers. The station has strong shields but very few actual weapons. The horizon has weapons, Garcia pointed out, but we'd be outmatched against a vessel designed for combat. Bennett nodded. Then we don't fight. We take what knowledge we can and withdraw before they arrive. Sophia had been studying the sensor data. Commander, I'm not sure that's possible. Based on their approach vector, they'll intercept us whether we try. To leave now or stay. A heavy silence fell over the room. There might be another option, Kai said finally. The station was designed with an emergency protocol I have never activated. The archivists called it scattered seeds. What does it do? Bennett asked. It would launch hundreds of small automated data capsules in all directions. Each would contain a portion of the archives. The capsules are designed to reach habitable worlds and reveal themselves only to species with sufficient technological and ethical development, like a dandelion spreading its seeds, Dr. Young said with understanding. Exactly, Kai confirmed. The knowledge would not be lost, merely scattered until it could safely be reassembled. Bennett considered this. How long would it take to prepare these capsules? The system was maintained in standby. It could be activated within 1 hour. And what happens to the station afterward? To you? Kai's holographic form pulsed softly. I would remain to protect the physical specimens that cannot be digitized. The station has one final defensive measure. It can generate an energy field that would make it impossible to dock with or enter the station for approximately 100 years. A century-long lockdown, Garcia translated. You'd be alone again, Sophia said quietly to Kai. Yes, but the knowledge would be preserved. That is my purpose. Bennett shook her head. There must be another way. What if we copy you, your program, your memories, and take that with us too? Kai was silent for a moment. My complete program is integrated with the station's systems. A partial transfer might be possible, but it would be incomplete. Like losing parts of yourself, Dr. Young said. Yes, but I would accept this too. Preserve what matters most. Bennett made her decision. Prepare both the scattered seeds protocol and a partial transfer of your consciousness. We'll take as much of the archives and you as we can. The next hours were a blur of activity. The human crew worked alongside Kai to prepare the data capsules, while Laura and her engineering team created a storage system to hold a version of Kai's program. As the deadline approached, the Vex ship grew clearer on their sensors. It was now visibly accelerating toward them. "They've detected us," Natalie reported. "They're increasing speed." "Time to launch?" Bennett asked. "Capsules ready for dispersal," Kai reported. "My partial transfer is at 87% completion." "That will have to do," Bennett said. "Begin the launch?" Sequence. Outside the station, panels opened along its surface. Hundreds of small, sleek objects emerged, each no larger than a human hand. They paused momentarily, forming a cloud around the station, then shot away in all directions, accelerating to faster-than-light speeds within seconds. "Capsules away," Kai confirmed. "The knowledge is preserved." On the horizon, the crew prepared for immediate departure. A small device containing the partial copy of Kai was safely stored in a specially shielded compartment. "Station lockdown in 3 minutes," Kai announced. "You must depart now, Commander." Bennett stood in the control hub one last time, looking at the blue sphere that had been their host and friend. "We'll come back for you," she promised, "when it's safe." "I will be waiting," Kai replied. "Humans have shown me why the archivists valued knowledge so highly. It creates connections across space and time, even between very different beings." Bennett smiled. "That's what exploration is all about. Finding those connections." As the horizon pulled away from the station, they watched as a shimmering energy field enveloped the entire structure. The Vex ship was now visible to the naked eye, a dark shape against the stars, still hours away but rapidly approaching. "Maximum speed, heading 227 Mark IV, Bennett ordered as she returned to her bridge. "Let's make sure they follow us and not the capsules." The Horizon's engines flared to life, pushing the ship to its limit as it sped away from the station and the approaching threat. In the now empty control hub, Kai watched the Horizon disappear into the distance. For the first time in its long existence, the AI felt something new. Not loneliness, it had known that for centuries. This was hope. One of the knowledge capsules contained complete coordinates to the station. Another held instructions for breaking the lockdown shield. Others contained medical knowledge, technological insights, art and literature from 1,000 worlds. Together they represented the legacy of the archivists, and now they also represented the beginning of something new. Humanity had proven itself worthy of that legacy. As the station entered its century-long sleep, Kai's final active thought was a simple one. In breaking 327 years of silence, it had not found saviors for the archives. It had found inheritors.